Young world, back at it. So this Michael Jackson documentary is coming out in a couple of days. Leaving Neverland has a lot of people upset, myself included. I'm not going to say I'm losing sleep, but the thought of it, you know what I'm saying, is messed up. You got a guy who's been dead for years, who has been tried in the court of law twice, acquitted. Then you have these two guys that years ago said nothing happened. Now all of a sudden they're coming out now saying that something happened. It just seems unethical. You know what I mean? There's always been a split of supporters of Michael Jackson, whether they believe or support him or don't support him. I think it's not even down the middle. I think there's always have been more people that support Michael Jackson than people that don't support him. You know what I'm saying? I always supported Michael Jackson. I'm not ashamed to say it. I think the allegations are, I think the thing with Michael Jackson, he definitely had mental problems. He definitely was weird. He definitely, doing some of the stuff he done, I would say definitely wasn't good decisions that the average, regular, logical adult would have made. The average adult wouldn't spend that much time around kids to begin with. You know what I mean? But a person like Michael Jackson, who during his time, and even probably not now no more, but when I was young growing up all the time, they said Michael Jackson was the most popular person on the planet. He always has been the most popular person on the planet. Even more than Jesus Christ. Everybody everywhere always knew who Michael Jackson was. So a person, when they have that much power and influence, you got to understand that somebody like that is going to be heavily scrutinized and heavily under surveillance all the time. His nephew was on the Breakfast Club earlier on a phone interview. He said Michael Jackson was under surveillance for 10 years. I'm going to say it was probably 20 or 30 years. He probably has been under surveillance his whole entire life. You know what I mean? They probably have hours upon hours of hidden video and audio of Michael Jackson throughout his life. I would say. I would bet my money on it. And during all those times, even the 10 years that they know the FBI was investigating him, even then, they don't have any concrete evidence that says that he did anything to anybody. Because best believe if they had it, they would have been brought it out and they would have been locked him up. You know what I mean? It would have been a known fact already that there was this concrete evidence on Michael Jackson. But what his nephew also said that a lot of people didn't know about is that Michael Jackson actually owned half of the Sony catalog. Not just the Beatles catalog, not just the James Bond catalog and other stuff. He owned an entire half of Sony's catalog. Half of it. He owned so much of it that when Sony done new business ventures and new deals, Michael Jackson was automatically included and with a percentage of the new deals just from the contract that he already had from his ownership already, without even having to put up money, his nephew said. So that means if Sony did a new deal, new venture, or a new thing, Michael Jackson was automatically included with partial ownership of anything they'd done, because he owned that much of the company already. You got to understand that that's threatening for a corporation. You know what I mean? And when I was growing up, Michael Jackson was the most popular person on the planet. More than Michael Jordan, more than Jesus Christ, more than Elvis Presley, more than the Pope, more than anybody you can possibly think of. He always has been, at my age, my day and age growing up, the most popular person on the planet. Nobody was more popular than Michael Jackson. That right there is a tremendous amount of power and influence for one person to have. So this documentary is coming out. Another thing is coming out on March 3rd. Anybody who knows about the elites, the Illuminati, Freemasonry, whatever you want to call it, the number 33 is real important to the elites. 33rd degree Masons. 33 has always been an important number for the elites. They communicate with 33. So the documentary is coming out on March 3rd, which gives you a 3-3. From March 3rd to the end of the year, there's 303 days left in the year, so that gives you what looks like another 33. The one dude's name, one of his accusers' name is Wade Robson. Wade gives you 33. The other one is James, Safe Chuck. James gives you 33. And Michael itself gives you 33. Because we can't sit here and pretend that Michael wasn't part of the elites himself. You know what I mean? He grew up in that inner circle. He's always been part of that elite group of people. But the problem is that when he became too powerful and started, because what his nephew said on the Breakfast Club, which we already knew, is that Michael Jackson outsmarted the elites. Buying the stuff he bought when he bought it, and the ownership that he had at such a young age, I don't know how they allowed him to acquire it. I don't know what the deal behind the scenes was that they even made it possible for him to even make the deal. But he did it. He made the deal. He owned that stuff that he owned, and it was already a done deal for many years. I don't even know how they allowed him to do it, but he did it. So at that point, when you have somebody with that much ownership of a catalog of a company, a major corporation in the entertainment, and not even just entertainment, a major corporation in many different forms of industry in America and around the whole entire world, he owned that much of it. So if he wasn't willing to part with it, the only way to take it from him would be to kill him. And his nephew said that Michael Jackson would say to a lot of people, many people in his family can tell you that he said all the time that one day they're going to kill me for my catalog. That's what his nephew always said, that Michael Jackson would always say. One day they're going to kill me for the catalog. And now that he's dead, Sony has, his nephew's words were, the worst nightmare has came true, which is that Sony has taken the catalog. So Sony took it back and they own it. Which is just, it doesn't even make sense, because having that much ownership in Sony, owning half of Sony, that asset alone is enough for you to live on and your family to live on and their grandkids and so on for eternity, for as long as the way the structure of America is right now, the industry, the entertainment industry, as long as that's sustained, then that legacy will live on forever, and you would have generational wealth forever just off that alone. So of course they had to kill him. Of course they couldn't let somebody have that. Even more than just it being a black and white thing, they can't allow any person to have that much power or that much ownership of something like that, which is a corporation. A lot of people thought when he first died that he didn't even die. You know what I mean? There was a lot of videos on YouTube. That was when I first kind of started seeing. I think that was around. I wasn't even into YouTube like that then, but there was like a lot of videos that were showing what looked like him being alive after they said he was dead. Looked like he was still moving. And the one video they had, there was like a lot of discrepancies, a lot of stuff. Some people believe that Michael Jackson was cloned many times. I got a video on here about the different clones of Michael Jackson. That's a whole different conspiracy theory. People think he has been replaced, to say the least, even if it wasn't clones, that it was maybe different people playing the Michael Jackson brand throughout time. Because, I mean, for his facial structure and his physique and his physical to change so much throughout the years, something has had to happen to him, if it was really him. Or like I said, other people were playing a part and stuff like that. But a lot of people think that he's a dude named Dave, this guy that was burnt up real bad, who was supposed to be Michael Jackson's friend. I think he knew him since he was young, and he kind of grew up knowing, he became like his friend and stuff like that. But people think that he really took on the persona and the identity of this person named Dave. So that's like another conspiracy theory that could be true or not. Who knows? Chances are that Michael Jackson's dead. You know what I mean? Probably dead and gone. But possibly he's not. But that's a whole different story. But the bottom line is that I feel that is definitely unethical to release this documentary now, way after the fact that he's been dead for all these years. The fact that he's been acquitted twice of these allegations. The fact that these dudes both said that he didn't do nothing to him years ago. Now they're saying he did. And I seen a clip of the documentary a couple days ago. I forget exactly what they were talking about, but all I remember was that it was like something terrible that they were saying. It was real bad. I forget exactly what it was. But it was just terrible. So they're not even... this is even worse than the R. Kelly, Surviving R. Kelly series, I think. This thing coming out now is about to be something that's like tremendously terrible. Like the stuff they're going to be saying is just disgusting. And like his nephew said, he's not surprised that they're still going on with these allegations all these years later, because in order to sustain the fact that they may have killed him, his nephew didn't say those words right there, but he did say they would have to keep destroying his character and keep making him, painting him in a bad light to make the transition of whatever happened to him be easier to digest, because it's easy to accept something that might have happened to somebody if they're painting this person as being less than moral or less than human. So if they're painting a bad picture about him, it's easy for people to accept that he just died and that's that, and leave it alone. Especially if they make him look like a child predator. Because a person like Michael Jackson, as popular as he was, like I said, he was the most popular person on the planet when I was growing up. There's always going to be more people every couple of years that are going to wonder what happened to Michael Jackson. There's always going to be new people that show up asking questions and wondering what really happened, and is the story true, what they're saying that really happened to him, and stuff like that. So in order to keep for damage control, it's easy to assassinate his character, so it's easier for them to accept that he was a child molester or accept some other kind of crazy stuff. And also with his children is a whole nother, I'm not going to touch that right now, but are his kids really his kids is another thing. I mean, the kids don't look part black at all, if you ask me.